Salam Namaste and welcome back to Tech Chai, the one and only tech show, the tech show that is the most spoken and talked about show in the Bay Area, Tech Chai with one and only Dr. Sam. He is the founder and president of Strategism Inc. अगर आप पहली बार हमारे शो में डायल इन कर रहे हैं तो मैं आपको बता दूं कि Strategism.inc is simply put your best friend in the tech world. If you've recently been part of a workforce reduction, layoffs या फिर आप हाल ही में कॉलेज से ग्रेजुएट हुए हैं या फिर होने वाले हैं and you are figuring out what to do in the real world, Strategism is the place you need to be. They have lots of courses, training, certifications, lots of mentors, lots of people, industry leaders that can actually talk to you and help you get placed and coach you holistically for a very impactful and successful career ahead in tech. उनकी जो contact details है वो है 408-372-7275. If you want to shoot them an email, do so at training@strategisminc.com. और भी अधिक जानकारी उपलब्ध है on their website, which is www.strategisminc.com. Of course, गाना मैंने चलाया था काली काली आंखें. डॉक्टर सैम को आप देख सकते हैं, काला काला चश्मा पहने हुए वो स्टूडियो में है. All you need to do is go to Facebook and type Radio Zindagi, and you can also see us while listening to us live. और हमारे जो आज के गेस्ट है वो बड़े ही खास है. एकदम अभी वो ड्राइव करके आ रहे हैं सैन फ्रांसिस्को से directly to our show. So Dr. Sam, would you like to do the honors to introduce our techie of the week?
Absolutely. It is such an honor, and we are really excited to have with us Dr. Riten Datta. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me on the show.
Yeah. Interestingly, I did a lot of research on you, and I figured out that you have so good things. You went to do your PhD from Penn State in 2010, about 15 years ago, and you still don't write Riten. On the other hand, I write doctor, so which I found strange. And then I also found that you have more followers on LinkedIn, 41,000. And I have only 20, so you are actually more aware, and you have bigger
Dr.
social
Sam,
media.
your 20,000 followers is like 10 times more valuable than my 40,000.
Why so?
It's the quality that matters, not quantity.
Well, that's true. But at the same time, friends, इंडिया में कहते थे जो दिखता है वही बिकता है.
That is also true. I can't deny that.
So listeners को बता दूं कि like you rightly said, Dr. Sam, Dr. Ritendra Datta, उन्होंने PhD किया हुआ है in computer science and engineering from Penn State, where I believe his major was something very interesting. It was on machine learning aesthetics, if I'm saying it right. And then, of course, he went on to do many great things in the industry. बहुत सालों तक वो Google में उन्होंने काम किया. He led multiple AI/ML teams related to shopping searches on Google. Then, of course, he was at Meta, Facebook, for the longest time, and he worked on video and reels recommendations. उसके बाद उन्होंने Databricks में भी काम किया as head of applied AI. And finally, he is working at a tech startup right now, which is doing very interesting things. Let's just keep it that way. But बहुत सारे publications हैं उनके. It seems Google says that his publications have been cited more than 8,000 times, and this data might already be a little bit dated because I picked it off your Weebly. So how are you doing today, Mr. Ritendra Datta?
I'm doing good. Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me. It's such a pleasure to talk to both of you. I think I think you're doing God's work at Strategism.
Thank you.
To train the people. I mean, people are hungry. They're looking for help and they don't know where to go. And you're bridging a very important gap. And I think what I would call like continuing education.
Mm-hmm.
And for those who are trying to pivot to new careers, jobs are going away, new kinds of professions are coming up. And I think there's an absolute necessity for something that you do. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Dr. Riten. And the reason we selected you for today's show, because we select the best of the best, right? And we have a very rigorous system. Is not only your PhD from Penn State or 40,000 LinkedIn members you have, but you're also a mentor. And I saw that there's a direct link from LinkedIn to your mentorship. and you have this Ask Me Anything AMA that I noticed. I also saw that you're into movie making. So such a talented person, you are, and not only like Roshni said, you work for Google, Facebook, Databricks, and now the largest company in the world, which is in the space of LLM and chats, and has billion users. So what best can we have? We would love to have you as our keynote speaker for our Tech Fest, which is coming up on 29th March here at ICC Milpitas. Roshni, do you have something to add?
Absolutely. So, Tech Fest के बाद जब हमने की है, Dr. Sam, why don't we tell our listeners what to expect, where Dr. Datta will also be a keynote speaker. Like you rightly said, please, listeners, save the date. It's on Sunday, March 29th from 3 p.m. to 8 p.m. at ICC Milpitas. It'll feature visionary speakers, tech panels होंगे, interactive sessions होंगे. बहुत अच्छा opportunity है to network. There'll be a recruiting hour, which may directly lead to placements. Of course, there'll be dinner and drinks and music and entertainment. So this is great. This is brought to you by Strategism Inc. and Radio Zindagi. And Dr. Datta, I think one of the you rightfully said that Dr. Sam is doing such great work in the field of continuing education, helping people. What is more important than having a secure job, to secure your finances, to secure your life? I think rightfully said, it's doing God's work. You are no different, Dr. Datta, in terms of what you do, in terms of providing mentorship, guidance, coaching, and education to a lot of young people, to the youth and mid-career people. So, आपने इतनी सारी जगह पे काम किया है, the really companies of our time, so to speak, Google, Facebook, and even your latest AI startup, which are like, they have in some ways defined this era, right? They have been game changers at their, at what they do. So when hiring, what do these top companies look for in their AI ML roles? Would you be able to shed some light on that?
Yeah, I think they're looking for three. There are roughly in the AI ML space, there are three kinds of roles, in my opinion. And of course, you can have more fine-grained divisions of those three. The way I would characterize the first bucket is pure research. Because AI is a research area, unlike many other fields of computer science, where things have become much more predictable and tractable in some sense. You know what to expect. AI is one area where we are still finding out what our large AI models are, why they're behaving the way they are, and so on. So that's what I would call the research bucket. That particular role or that type of role requires rigorous academic training, typically, in addition to a bunch of experiences, trying to do that on your own, hands-on, playing with these models, playing with the weights of these models, tuning them, learning to make them better, and so on. The second bucket is what I would call applied AI, where you're not necessarily researching these AI systems, but you're using them to build products that consumers and enterprises use on a daily basis. A classic example of this would be voice transcription, right? You have a system that transcribes your voice, turns it into written language, and then turns that into something else, and then produces some voice synthesize. And those are the voice to text, text to voice. These are applications of AI. And then in the middle, there's also like making sense of that statement, turning it into a response, and so on. Each of these are applied problems. They're relying on models that exist, what we call foundation models, but they're not necessarily inventing new foundation models. So in the space of applied AI, the skill set required is more around how do you take an infrastructure, I would call it, or eventually a commodity, and turn it into useful products and services. And so that requires you to have good, obviously a good understanding of how these things work, even if you don't know how to build them from scratch. In addition to understanding statistics, understanding aggregate data, making sense of, how users behave or respond to such products, and then turn that into actionable insights so that you can make these products better and better. So it's like a much more holistic sort of spectrum of skills that is required. And in my mind, this is where most of the jobs will be over the next few years. This is where most of the money will be made, and thereby employment will also be the largest bucket. And then there is a third bucket, which I would consider calling like AI adjacent roles. data engineering, for example, moving data from one part of the system to another so that it's available for these foundation models or for these applied AI systems. And it could also be downstream systems like support, like infrastructure, like maintenance, like what we would call like DevOps, and then MLOps, those kinds of things which are peripheral to applied AI and foundational research. So those are the three buckets.
Yeah. Interestingly, when I hear him talking about that, Dr. Datta, I also get reminded of Jensen Huang saying that there are 5 stacks and they want to be everywhere. The lowermost is the energy. That is there, and then on top of it you will make chips, because if you don't have energy, how will you make that? Then on top of it is the infrastructure, and then the models, and then the applications. So
totally. So I think I scratched the surface of that stack, like the top 2.
Okay.
But if you're in the end-to-end business of from hardware to software to production systems, then Jensen is absolutely right. Like, he's made a humongous business out of the lower 3 tiers of that stack. By the way, I'm very uncomfortable calling myself Dr. Datta. I'm forgetting that you're calling me.
Today, me and Roshni will make sure that we call you Dr. Datta every time, so that the doctor in you gets invoked.
That's our mission for the day. So speaking of that, so thank you for outlining those 3 buckets, Dr. Datta. But AI is kind of a unique field, right? जो हमने बचपन में the kind of academics that we were introduced to, right? कि coding करो, especially engineering में, computer science में, especially coding करो, feature development करो, and all of that. But AI में code is also being written. AI is also writing the code for you. So now it is not just the engineering and the coding and the mathematics and the statistics that you need. You need something extra. So what are some of these non-technical skills that could make an AI leader stand out, or makes an AI leader stand out like you, like yourself?
Yeah, I think one thing that you need is to manage AI systems, right? So that is not just about managing people who build those systems, but in the future, there'll be a whole bunch of agents doing stuff for you. Managing them is a skill. And any kind of management, whether you're managing people or eventually like AI-powered systems, you're actually building empathy toward things that do work for you. So one of the top skills that I personally feel is really important is to empathize with your customers, with the people who work for you, and the people who are surrounding those systems and people, right? So I think that also helps you very directly with your business, because if you're very strongly empathetic with what you do and why what you do matters, you're going to do better in your business as well. There's a economic reason to be empathetic as a leader, which we don't often talk about. We always put that under the bucket of like soft skills. But if you're an empathetic leader, then you will make systems better. Those systems will be attractive to downstream customers. Those customers will pay you money. Your business will grow and everyone will be happier. So my number one skill set even for AI, regardless, is the human aspect of being a leader, which is being an empathetic leader. And obviously we often fail at it. We try, we fail, we learn from our mistakes, we grow. So there's no such thing as you're born with empathy. You build empathy through your own life experiences and learning from others around you who are also great leaders. Like Dr. Sam, like people who have observed him have also found him, I'm pretty sure, to be an empathetic leader, and they're learning from him, learning patience from him, learning empathy from him, and through that the education becomes more accessible and more. If you have a teacher, if you have an education system, which strategism is in some sense, that is not empathetic to its students, they will not come to them. So there's a big part of their attraction is not just how much they know, but how they empathetically impart that knowledge to others.
Oh yeah, I mean Dr. Sam is a legend in this part of the world.
I know that.
There are so many people that I hear that tell me that, oh, I was a student of Dr. Sam. But really? I mean, this is before my time, but it always puts a smile on my face that I get to do your show, Dr. Sam, and so many people are grateful to you in more ways than one.
And one other thing I would say, like outside of empathy, is like just being very agile. The world is changing extremely fast and you cannot be rigid. You have to adapt to things. This idea that AI can write all your code. This revolved in a matter of 1 year. They used to be able to fix small bugs here and there. They used to be able to advise you on how to fix. In the last 6 to 12 months, these enterprises have turned that into a full-fledged, basically almost pseudo software engineers writing all of your code, and you're just shepherding them. So if you were rigid about, oh, I need to write all my code myself, you would fall behind because everyone else around you are going to just adopt that those technologies and move much faster than you. I mean, even today, I was just describing what I want, and I got 90% of the way there within minutes. It was incredibly insightful, and it cannot be like understated how powerful those systems have become at looking through like hundreds of thousands of files in a repository in a code base and figure out how to do this. There's no human equivalent of that, and agility is a very big part of adapting to all the changes happening to you. Those who will not adapt will fall behind, will not get their next gig, will not be able to grow in their career and all of that. So I would say take empathy and agility together and you have everything you need.
Awesome. So that's a nice segue into our next question, which would be like, what is your opinion on college degrees these days versus other means of AI learning? Because there are many good courses, channels out there.
Yeah, speaking of agility, we are all trying to figure out. I think there's a place for college education in the next several decades. I don't know. Like if it's a century from now, what does the education system look like? I don't know. But what I can predict is the education system will exist, but it will morph very quickly to be really, really valuable. Especially American education is very expensive. So universities will have to figure out how to make it worth people's time and money, which means that the same thing that applies to humans applies to universities. They have to be empathetic to the situation people are in. If you're taking a $200,000 loan for a 4-year degree and you don't have a reasonable paying job that you can use to pay back your loan, people will think twice about enrolling in college. So that's empathy, and agility means that universities will also have to move much faster than they have in adapting to all this technology. Trying to tell people, hey, you can't use all these AI chatbots to help you is not going to help, because everywhere outside of the universities, they're going to use those tools. And by depriving your students of those tools, you're actually, handicapping your students. So they have to also be agile and figure out how do you work together? How do universities become net positive with all the AI tools around them, but also add enough value?
So speaking of students, Dr. Sam, you've been an entrepreneur yourself. I think you've never worked for anybody else in your life.
In US.
In US soil, in US soil. So, but there are a lot of college students these days that talk about entrepreneurship. What are some words of advice that you want to give them? What kind of career mistakes they could be avoiding right now? We are, approaching the end of our show. So, I think this would be a good last segment.
Yeah, sure. So I think we still have 2-3 minutes, so we have a couple of questions to ask Dr. Datta. But entrepreneurship is hard, Roshni, right? It is very hard. The failure rate is 90%, 95%. So some human beings are designed for that. Some have to really learn. But what I noticed in Dr. Datta, there's an entrepreneur in him, because when I went to his LinkedIn profile, he saw that he has his own YouTube, a lot of things out there, videos, mentorship. And so he's already doing. I was thinking he's a very, ordinary guy. But when I went there, I felt that he's a digital guy, and he has a tremendous presence. So I think of him like an entrepreneur. And I encourage everybody who is out there looking for jobs, create your LinkedIn profile, create your YouTube videos, and create some projects, do those projects and showcase them like he does, where, the big companies who have billion users, they'll call you. You don't have to chase them. They will call you because you are so visible. So I think entrepreneurship is good. But I want to talk to Datta. We have a couple of questions. What are some career mistakes one could make, and how to avoid them?
I think we can I think one of the things is fearing what's to come and not keeping pace with all the things that are happening, but also not feeling overwhelmed with all the changes. One of the challenges I hear the most is, oh, there's so much change going on, so much, I cannot keep up pace, so I'm going to give up. I think that's the wrong way to do it. What you have to do is you have to distill the knowledge from, all the drinking from a fire hose, but also filtering what's really interesting and what's sticking, and learning those bits and pieces and keeping up with just the most stable, steady state innovations that are happening. Instead of trying to drink from the fire hose, you're going to overwhelm yourself, remember nothing, and get frustrated. But if you pick 3 to 5 things every few weeks and really master them, you're going to be much better at keeping pace with
exponential learning. You
Yes.
know what I'm sensing. But what about AI agents? They're taking over everybody's
Yes.
job.
Yes.
What is your thought on that?
I think agents have to be our companions. They have to be our partners. We don't have to worry about them. We have to utilize them so that we 10x our own productivity at any given time. Like imagine, for this radio show, instead of doing your research, your RJ could be setting an agent to do all the research for the next talk.
How do you know I didn't do that?
You did it, but you may not have used the latest tools. So
Sure.
next time maybe you can do it in 10x faster speed while you're drinking your coffee. It has already done all the research for you and presented a summary for you to talk
Right.
for the key talking points. So like the big differentiator between just AI like a chatbot and an agent is the agent parses things and then takes action.
Right.
Okay.
So that action taking part is something that we don't always
Dr.
think.
Datta, we are running out of time, but I have one last question.
Yes,
What is
yes.
your thought to the people who lost their jobs, and what are your parting words for them, that how do they get back into the market and how do they do well?
Yeah, they have to very quickly turn their career around. They have to re-educate themselves. They have to adjust to the changing environment. They have to enroll in the right courses. They have to meet the right people. They have to network. They have to get inspired by the right people, and they cannot give up. They have to keep trying.
I think
love
that's
that.
a lovely note to end the show on. Not giving up. Giving up तो option है ही नहीं.
Yeah,
Dr. Sam, हमारे
नहीं
show
है.
पे तो giving up का option है ही
Yeah, I
नहीं.
say fail all the time, make
Yeah.
mistakes, but don't give up. Keep trying.
Keep trying. And on that note, we'll see you once again next Tuesday, 3:30 p.m. Dr. Datta, it was wonderful having you on the show. I'm pretty sure उन्हें फिर से लाना पड़ेगा क्योंकि questions
Yes.
बहुत रह गए हैं. And it was lovely learning from you. Likewise, Dr. Sam. Till then, stay tuned to Radio Zindagi 1550 AM.
Jiye ja.